said by a British person, so I'm allowed to make fun of them, I guess. And it was said about American people, so perfect audience. Don't listen to anything I say after this, basically. The Americans have need of the telephone, but we do not. We have plenty of messenger boys. So William Praise, chief engineer at the British Post Office. That was his perspective, that Americans needed phones and the Brits did not. Now listen to this. The horse, this was in 1903, the horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty, a fad. This was said by the president of the Michigan Savings Bank, advising Henry Ford's lawyer.
Oh my God.
Right? It's fascinating. Now, wait, there's loads more, but I'll read one more. 1977. There is no reason, not even there is no possibility, there is no reason for any individual to have a computer in his home. Ken Olsen, founder of Digital Equipment Corp. So why am I sharing all that with you? I'm sharing that with you because that is the power of disconnected thinking. Most people, when someone comes across something new, when someone comes across something fresh, when someone comes across something powerful and different, everyone writes it off because it's scary, it's uncertain, we can't see that far ahead. And I just read it out. That was the phone, that was cars, that was the internet, computers, the list goes on and on and on. Humans have not been great at predicting what may work when it comes to new innovation. So when I come here today to talk to you about connected thinking and innovation, it's hard, it's challenging. And what I've realized is that it's not because we don't understand new technology. You can learn that on a YouTube video, you can learn about that on a podcast, you can learn about that in a book. But really it's a mindset thing. What's holding you back is not technology or opportunity or possibility. What's holding us back is our mindset. And so what I want to do today is I want to shift our mindset away from those ideas that have such a strong hold on it. I want to share with you another story before I dive into the habits. And this story was often told by the Buddha. We would hear about this in the monastery that I lived in often. And in this story, there's a person just like you and just like me who's on a journey. And on this journey, they come across many obstacles just like you and just like me. Their first obstacle happens to be a fast-flowing river. This fast-flowing river is right in front of them, and they want to get to the other side. And they're wondering, how do we do that? How do I do that? They try to test the log. They roll a log out, and the log's completely taken away. The current is way too fast. So they realize that they need to build a mode of transport. They decide to craft a raft. They lay down 2 layers of bamboo. They grab some rope. They tie up the corners. They even build themselves an oar. And this time they jump on and they paddle and paddle and paddle, and then they paddle with all their strength and all their might and all the energy that they have, and they finally make it to the other side. And when they make it to the other side, this person thinks to themselves, that raft saved my life. That raft changed my life. Without that raft, I would not be alive today, rightly so. So they decide to strap that raft to their back and walk around with it for the rest of their life. They say, I'm going to carry this around wherever I go. Now, this person continues their journey, and just like you and me, they come across a new challenge. Except this time, the challenge isn't a fast-flowing river. This time, the challenge is a tall, wooded forest with trees dotted at every other step. So this person's trying to get through and they're trying to maneuver and navigate through, and the raft keeps getting stuck and it's getting chipped and it's breaking off, and they're just trying to figure out how they can break through. The Buddha says that at this point, this person has a really important decision to make. They have two choices. One choice is that they continue to hold on to this raft that saved their life and struggle to get through this forest and maybe never even get through. Or they put down the raft, knowing they can build it again at any time and walk through freely. This is the situation we're in with our mindset. We have rafts that worked before. We have mindsets that worked before, like that raft. And we're carrying it around with us, and then we come across a tall wooded forest. And then we get stuck. And we're trying to drag that same mindset through the forest, not realizing that there's a completely different mindset required at this time. There's a beautiful piece of Zen wisdom that's been shared for thousands of years. And what it says to us is this, that we don't realize that half the time the thing that's weighing us down, the thing that's holding us back, is what we're holding on to. In this story, the Buddha says the person decided to put down the raft and walk through freely. I want to ask you all today, what part of your mindset are you going to leave behind today? When you walk out of this room tonight, what part of it are you going to say, you know, I might need to leave that behind. I might need to let go of that. That doesn't serve me anymore. So let's dive in. One of the first habits of a connected thinker, when they looked at 3,000 leaders and they asked them what they believed was the number one skill of a leader. Studied 3,000 leaders, asked them for their number one skill. They asked them to rank leadership skills, but with the number one skill at the top. What do you think it was? Shout it out. Shout it out louder. Compassion, personal responsibility, integrity, consistency, humility, adaptability, being positive,
discipline.
I didn't hear that one. Okay? Listening, leverage, so vision. A lot of these were on the list. Inspiration. Okay, these are all great. Connection. These are all fantastic. And that's probably the closest actually. So, who said connection? What's your name? No? Don't want to shout out your name? Michael. Give Michael a round of applause, everyone. So connection's probably the closest, and I'll tell you why. The way that connection was described was actually the word that all these leaders used was surprising. But all of them agreed that the number one skill of a leader was something known as associating or connecting. And it was the ability to connect seemingly opposite things. Leaders were able to look at anomalies to other people, but spot connections. They were able to look at something that looked random and completely disconnected and find the pattern and find the parallel. A real life example of this, of why we struggle with this, is that we're surrounded by people who often think similarly to us. We're surrounded by people who, kids go to the same schools, we all follow the same people, we watch the same people, we listen to the same people. We don't necessarily have enough diversity in our network of background, of walk of life experience, that we can't really entertain a truly new, original, creative idea. I'll give you a real life example. This gentleman, everyone knows his name, Mark Zuckerberg, when he was confused about the direction of Facebook in 2009, Facebook was only 5 years old, he went to his mentor to ask for what he should do next, how he should figure out, at that time, the mission of Facebook. His mentor happened to be Steve Jobs. Pretty good mentor to have. So Mark went up to Steve, and he said, "What do I do, Steve? I'm stuck." Now, if you imagine back to 2009, Steve Jobs is one of the most influential people on the planet. There's pretty much no one he can't call, no money he can't raise, no business deal he can't make happen if he really wants to. And Mark tells this story, and he said that Steve didn't tell him to go to a venture capitalist or a hedge fund or a financier or a VC or anyone in the investment world or financial world, or in the tech world for that matter. Mark said that Steve told him to go and live in a monastery in India with monks. And he said that if you do that, by going there and experiencing what they experience, you'll figure out what the vision is for what you want to do. And Mark said that he did that, and that's what led him to the initial idea of connecting people. Now, what I find fascinating about that is, take a moment to think about your network of people that you go to. Often we have chats, or we have email chains. We ask the same people for their insights and their advice. Same sorts of thoughts. I want you to think about this when you walk out today. Who is that random, everyone needs one random friend, right? If you're not laughing right now, you are that random friend. Someone's thinking about you, right? Someone's visualizing you right now. But who is that friend in your life? Who's that person who may play devil's advocate too much? They may always try and disagree with you. They may always have some smart thing to say, but there's validity in that. One of the biggest enemies of creativity is being surrounded by people who think the same way. And so when you're trying to innovate in your workplace, when you're trying to change things in your organization, think about who is someone that I'd like to speak to who I believe is going to give me a different perspective than the one I'm used to. Who can I call? That's not just going to annoy me and be frustrating, but who do I actually have in my life that sees things differently, that has a different life experience?